Today, I'm sharing 5 ways to improve your conversations with your employee and colleagues. Did you know that when we clearly explain the impact of what we say and do, we can not only improve collaboration, but also build long-term trust in a team? Every tip I share today is designed to make your conversation clearer and more productive. So let's get started. Reason number 1, clarify how you feel. The first reason to talk about impact is to clarify how you feel during conversation with employees. It also helps to avoid misunderstandings and to express what you really feel about a situation. When you clearly explain how an action or a comment affected you, the other person can understand how you feel and why it matters to you. Imagine your idea was rejected without any explanation. You can say, when you rejected my idea without explaining, I felt like my efforts were not being considered. This helps you explain your feelings without blaming. Another example in a management team, if decisions are made without consulting you, you can say, I feel discouraged when I don't think our expertise is valued. So by clarifying how you feel, you avoid frustration and you build better mutual understanding. The second reason to talk about impact is to strengthen accountability. When you help someone understand how their actions affect the team and the group dynamic, you encourage them to own their responsibilities in both success and mistakes. In a board of directors, for example, if a board member doesn't clearly explain the reason behind strategic changes, it can leave others feeling unsure. So you can say, by not explaining the reason for our strategic plan changes, you create uncertainty, which makes it harder for us to stay aligned. So you help the person to see the impact of not communicating. In a management team, if you And in a management team, not giving feedback on project can slow down skill development. So you can say, when you don't give feedback, the team doesn't have the information it needs to improve. It encourages the person to take responsibility while seeing the impact of their behavior. Reason number 3, encourage perspective taking. The third reason to talk about impact is to encourage perspective taking. Taking time to think about a situation and express how it affected you or the team helps avoid impulsive reactions. It creates calmer and more thoughtful conversations. In a board of directors, for example, after a disagreement about the budget, you could say, I realize my approach to our budget discussion might not have been helpful. How can we handle this more productively next time? This shows you can recognize tension and want to improve. In a management team, for example, after a crisis, it's important to pause before reacting. So you can say, I see that we all reacted quickly to this situation. Let's take a step back and think about how we can handle it differently next time. This turns a tense moment into a chance to grow. Reason number 4, encourage constructive dialogue. The fourth reason to talk about impact is that it encourages constructive dialogue. It's important not only to share how you feel, but also to invite others to share their views. This opens the door to more productive conversation and helps everyone understand each other's needs and expectations. In a board of directors, for example, if someone disagrees with a proposal to merge, you could say, I understand you disagree, but could you explain your concerns in more detail? This invites open discussions and shows you value the other person's opinion. In a management team, if someone has a different approach to a process, you can say, let's discuss our point of view and see how we can improve this together. Reason number 5, create a growth-oriented environment. The fifth and final reason to talk about impact is that it helps create a growth-oriented environment. It's important to recognize both successes and mistakes so everyone can grow and improve. In a board of directors, for example, you can say, by recognizing the successes of our last project, we can better build on our strengths. This helps reinforce what works well and while also identifying areas to improve. Now, let's talk about the pitfalls to avoid. Pitfall number 1, misinterpreting or confusing perception with facts. We all have biases. If you don't explain that it's your personal perception, it can sound like an attack. So instead of saying, you never support my ideas, say, in the last meeting, I felt like my ideas were not considered. This makes it clear that it's how you felt and not an absolute truth. Pitfall number 2, expressing feelings without showing vulnerability. If you stay too distant or speak in a cold way, it can sound accusatory. The key to a good conversation is to show that you are human and that you feel emotions. Instead of saying, I'm frustrated, say, I feel unsettled by this situation, and I would like us to discuss it. This opens the door to better understanding. Pitfall number 3, jumping to action without clarifying your intentions. If you suggest a solution without explaining why it matters, it can cause confusion. So instead of saying, let me know next time, say, my intention is to stay better organized, to avoid delays. This gives meaning to your request and makes it easier for others to accept. So, in conclusion, by focusing on impact, you can create clearer, more respectful conversations. This builds trust and helps everyone grow together. My question for you, what's the next step you will take?